All right, guys, today we're going to talk about integers with adding and subtracting on number lines. So this is kind of what it's going to look like. They're going to give you an expression like this. Expressions don't have equal signs. So you can see there's no equal sign here. We just have a -5 plus a 4. So yesterday we learned about circling and separating our numbers, and then this is what it's going to look like to demonstrate the answer on a number line, okay? So I'm going to go through this kind of front example, and then we're going to do 4 on the back. All right, so again, we're going to circle and separate just like normal. So we circle the 5 with the negative in front, and we circle the positive and the 4. Remember, addition is the same as positive, and nothing is left outside of our circles, okay? So then you can see now I'm ready to graph, and we always graph in the same order. So order matters, okay? So we're not going to change the order. We're going to start with the -5. And when we do that, we always begin at 0. So we're always going to begin at the 0 point. So you can see our first line starts at 0 and it's negative and it's going -5. So you can see they went from 0 all the way over here to the -5. So you can kind of see right here, there's my -5. Okay, so that represents that first number. The first number is the first line from 0. And again, order matters. You can see that it is 5 long, right? If I skip hopped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you can see the next number is positive. So I'm going to move to the right for positive, and I'm moving 4. So when I do that, I'm moving back not to the number 4 on the number line, but 4 spaces. So you can see if I skip hopped, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 spots there. And again, that moved in a positive direction. And so the solution to this, we're going to trace down. And where did we end up? We ended up at -1. And so the solution to this expression is -1. And now it's an equation because it has an equal line. Okay, so that's the example in the front. Let's do some examples together. So open up your notes. And let's go to the first one. So the first one says -5 plus 3. So again, first thing I'm going to do, I have some negatives and some positives. So I'm going to go ahead and circle and separate. Okay, so I have a -5 and a positive 3. So remember, we are always going to begin at 0. We're always going to begin at 0. Okay, so I am moving in a negative direction first. Okay, so I'm going to move over to -5. And if you'll notice, my number line has some blanks, so I could fill those in. Okay, and then again, same on the other side. I have some blanks, so I can fill those in. Okay, and then now I'm ready to graph. So again, my first number was -5. So I'm going to start at 0. I always begin at 0, and I'm going to go over to -5. So right here, lining up with the 5. Okay, and then from there, I'm going to go back +3. So I'm going to move in the positive direction. Remember, this side is our positive, and this side over here is our negative. So I'm going to move in the positive direction 3 spaces. Okay, so I have 1 moves me back to -4, 2 moves me back to -3, and 3 moves me back all the way down to my solution, -2. Okay, so this would equal -2. And again, this is just a way to solve on a number line. Remember, order matters. I did the -5 representing the first line, and then that that +3 representing our second line. And where we stop is our solution. Okay, so we stopped at -2, so that was our solution. Okay, so in this next one, we're still going to circle and separate, but we have a good versus evil situation. Okay, so I circle, and that first one is just -4. But then we have a good versus evil situation. So I'm actually going to rewrite -4, and then who wins? Good versus evil. Evil wins. Remember, negative wins. And so in this case, that is just going to be -7. Okay, so where do we start? We start at 0, and I'm going to move in a -4 direction. So I'm going to move in a -4 direction, and I get all the way there. I am lined up with -4, and then I'm actually going to move more negative, right? Because The second number is negative as well, and moving negative is to the left. And so I'm going to move another 7. So when I move another 7, I'm going to end up past my number line, okay, at negative 11, right? So again, if I wanted to show my hops there for 7, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 would end up at that negative 11. Okay, so our point on our number line ends up being negative 11. So my solution is negative 11. And again, this is just how we are solving using a number line. Okay, all right, let's try another one. So in example 3, we have 6 minus 10. So we're going to circle and separate. Okay, so there's no sign on the 6, so I'm going to draw one in. If there's not a sign, it's positive. And then we have a minus 10 or a negative 10. Remember, those are the same thing. And we always start our number line at 0. Order matters, so I have to start with positive 6. So I'm going to move in the positive direction, and I'm going to move over 6. So 5 and 6. Okay, so I'm lined up with that 6, and then I'm moving in a negative direction, so I'm going to go backward 10 spots. So if I move back to 0, that's my first 6, and then I have 7, 8, 9, 10. So these numbers represent the lengths of our lines. So this first line was positive 6 long, and then this second line is negative 10 long. That's how long the lines are. And then where did we end up? We ended up down here at negative 4. So that is our solution, negative 4. Okay, that is our solution. All right, our last example, example number 4, it has negative 8 minus negative 4. So I'm going to circle and separate just like before. So my first number is just negative 8. And then my second number, when I circle it, it's got a whole bunch of business, right? And so remember, 2 evils or 2 negatives make a positive. They make a positive. And so I kind of show that with my fingers, like this negative and this negative get together, and then they make a plus sign. So you can literally just turn this parentheses minus minus into a giant plus. Okay, so now we have a negative 8 here and a positive 4 here. Okay, so I circled and rewrote my 8 numbers, and now I'm ready to graph. Okay, I'm going to start at 0 always. Okay, and my first number, order matters, is negative 8. So I'm going to move to my negative side of my number line, and I'm going to move all the way over to negative 8. Okay, so I started at 0, and I moved all the way over to negative 8. And then from negative 8, I'm going to move back to the positive side. I have positive 4. So I move 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. This represented positive 4, and then this down here represented negative 8. And then where did we end up? If we trace that down, boom, 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 we ended up at negative 4. So the solution to this should be negative 4. And that is how we solve integers for adding and subtracting on a number line. Easy peasy, guys.